Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is Bubble Bobble for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was released in 1988, and it's an arcade platformer, developed by Taito and published by Electrocoin. And also there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. I had a friend, just like many other friends that I had. His name was Kenny, and he had this game called Bubble Bobble, and I didn't play it much because we were always playing like Super Mario Bros or something, but yeah, it was a fun thing actually revising it this week. So this game starts you out at the title screen. You can select between 1 and 2 players, and there's also a password feature. Every time you die you get a password so you can continue where you left off, and that's a good thing. So when you start the game you're in a bubble. If you choose the 1 or 2 player option, you're either Bub or Bob. So that's kind of funny because the quest of this game is for you two guys, cursed to be dragons, to save your girlfriends by this evil guy called Von Bubble. Very deep story, very deep lore. So you start out in the Cave of Monsters. You just drop in and you start to spread your bubbles around. So you shoot the bubbles with the B button and you jump with the A button. So the main goal of this game is to encase the enemies of each level into bubbles and pop the bubbles. And once the enemies are popped, they turn into vegetables and fruits and other goodies like tomatoes and salad. And that's the thing about most arcade games. Somehow they all revolve around food and points. Maybe the developers were hungry or something, but it's a common trend. And there's also a mechanic: if you don't encase an enemy in a bubble, they actually get red and angry and move a lot faster. And to progress to the next level, you just pop all the enemies and you will turn into the dragon will get inside a bubble and go to the next stage, the next level. So some stages in, I collected some candy and a crown that made me swoosh all over the place. And this is when I realized that if you drop down at the bottom of the stage, you end up at the top. Just like ice climbers, if you go out one side, you will appear on the other. Same mechanics in Super Mario Bros. I also collected a light bulb. I have no idea what it does, but I collected it for points. And some stages later I learned about the ghost enemies, these new enemies, and this is where I also learned about the password feature, because this is where I died. So there's this other mechanic that you can collect balloons, or like balls I guess, with different letters on them, and if you get all the letters, it's supposed to spell extra. You get an extra life from this. I haven't really made it that far into the game because just like any arcade game, it ramps up at the later stages. But thankfully there are some password codes. You can skip ahead to I think there are 100 stages, with the 100th stage being the last boss, but there are passwords to the 99th level. And then in some later levels you have these other power-ups that you can get, like shoes that makes you move faster. And also I figure out that the candy makes you go a little faster, or not faster, but the bubbles reach longer. And then you can get the umbrella that makes you skip a couple of stages, and that's a good thing. So there is some mechanics to this game that I didn't really understand. I watched some playthroughs of it, and apparently if you spray bubbles all over the screen and you make a combo by popping a lot of enemies and also all the bubbles, you can get pizzas or other more valuable items. So I guess spraying the screen with bubbles and popping a lot of enemies makes you get better stuff, I guess. So this game also have different endings if you manage to get to level 100. So the big Von Bubble himself attacks you head on, and he drops these bubbles that contain chain lightning. And what you're supposed to do is you grab the lightning and it's kind of a finicky thing, but you jump up and you shoot them backwards in order to hit him. And you do this until he gets encased in like a bubble, and then you pop him. But that's the bad ending. The good ending is for this to be happening with 2 players, because if one guy gets the girlfriend and the other doesn't, that's the bad ending basically. So what you can do is you can play the game yourself, and just at the end of it you can just push select or A or something, the other character will pop in and you'll get the good ending. So I can imagine just playing through this game with like a single player, not having a second controller, and getting you got the bad ending. And it's kind of frustrating. I think I made it to stage 10, and then I was like, nope, this is terrible because the game ramps up because it's an arcade, as I said. But Imagine getting that far or even to the end of the game and be like, well, this is the bad ending, and you struggle so hard to get it. This game is, at the end of it, is like really hard. There's also a mechanic where you can bounce on bubbles if you hold the A button, and it doesn't tell you this in the game, but there's like at stage 49 or something, you're supposed to use the mechanic to get to the ledge job to pop some enemies off, but they are like bombarding you with like stuff, so you have to get up there fast, and if you don't do it, then you are most likely to get killed. So there's some hidden mechanics to this game, but maybe they were in the manual, but I didn't get the manual for this. It's a minor nitpick on my end, that's all. So gameplay. Help Bub and Bob save their girlfriends from the evil Baron Von Bubble during 100 levels. Control, the A button jumps, the B button shoots bubbles, and the D-pad moves you or Bub and Bob around. And I think the start button pauses, but I didn't check. Graphics. I really like the graphics. They're really cute, like cute bubble blowing dragons. I mean, they're adorable. Sound and music. Tadashi Kimijima made the music to this game, and it's a repetitive track that just goes around and around, and that's the thing I will put at the beginning of this pod episode, so you will have to listen to it, and then it will be stuck in your brain forever. Easter egg, secrets, and glitches. So this game has a password screen when you can skip the different levels. So for level 99 and the almost final level, you punch in GEJAJ. And for some other noticeable levels, 49 for instance, FFBCJ, and of course level 69, JGCBG. In conclusion, I wrote, yes, it's a cute game, chirpy music with the cute dragons blowing bubbles and eating vegetables, trying to save their girlfriends. On the negative side, the music is very repetitive. There's just one track, and that's it. Since it's an arcade port, it has repeating patterns, and enemy speeds up and everything gets more difficult. But due to the password feature, it's not that big of a deal. If you get a game over, you can just continue where you left off. And if you don't want to do that, you can always go online and find the codes without even getting that far. So there's not a big of a hurdle. There's some mechanics that are hidden. I think it's like at level 59 or 69 we have to learn about holding the A button to actually reach the top and bounce on your own bubbles to pop the other enemies off, I guess. But there are some small nitpicky things, but overall it's a good game, and you don't get frustrated while playing it. You play for a bit and then you put it aside, and it's a good game. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.